Hi,
Ainae, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, but I know you even better because you done graduated. You got your
Yes,
graduated
I
glow
have my
on.
sweater on.
Okay, I see you, alumnus. So, first and foremost, before we get to the voice, how are you feeling about graduation? Like you did it, you did
Yes,
it,
I
you did
did.
it. So talk to
I'm
us about
proud of
it.
myself
Why are you proud? Tell us why you proud.
because if you really think about it, 2020 and 2021 graduates, we have been through a pandemic. We have all worked 7 jobs to pay tuition. We have been through it, and yet we have come to the finish line and have the audacity to graduate.
Mm,
I think it's a big accomplishment, despite all that's happening in the world,
yeah,
to still be able to push through and finish.
exactly. So let me ask you this. So we had the pandemic of the class of 2020. A lot of the classes at these different HBCUs did not have the chance to have an
Yeah.
in-person ceremony. So you graduated, you had an in-person ceremony. So how was that experience?
Oh, it was amazing. I was like, do I want to go? I don't know. They were kind of making it complicated for people to go to graduation. You know how HBCUs are. Give us a little bit of the runaround. But I'm so happy that I went just because I feel like when you graduate, there's this moment of change that you don't necessarily feel sitting in front of a TV. But going to like commencement and hearing the speaker and seeing all your fellow peers turn their tassels, like you're like, wait a second, this is actually real. So it was super cool. I'm really happy that we had the opportunity to have an in-person situation. Didn't look like how it would usually look, um, but it was really dope.
First and foremost, we know how I'll be packing out everything y'all do up there in DC. So we know would have been more people that were there. But
Oh
I got
yeah.
to ask you about this. So you're an alumna of Howard now. So you
Yes.
already know what I'm going to ask you about. How you feeling about Dean Felissa Rashad? How you
Oh
feeling
my
about that?
gosh. I am starstruck. And it's crazy because you really think about it, you're like, okay, once everyone gets back on campus, is she gonna be sitting in the dean's office? People would just make appointments and talk to her?
Mm.
That's crazy.
If I was at Howard, I tried. I'd be the first person
Uh,
the first day. Listen, and I'm not gonna. I wouldn't even lie to her, like, because people will be like, I need my schedule will change. No, I need to talk to you about life, about my
yeah.
career at this point. I need you to help me out with life, mama. You mama now, my mama Rashad at this point. That's how it is HBCUs. But
Mm-hmm.
she be starstruck by you. You was on The Voice. You singing. She probably
No.
starstruck by you.
I don't think so. But I just think about I'm not even in the school of communications. I mean, fine arts. I'm not
Finance,
even
yeah.
in fine arts, but I'm always in that building. So I find
Mm.
my way, try to become her bestie, see if we
Oh
can
man.
make that happen.
Listen, you're an alum now, so you can make it happen. But let's transition just into just your journey in general, right? So tell us about your journey to like just to this point, because I've done my research on you. You've been singing for a minute. You didn't just pick this up like a couple weeks ago to get on The Voice. You've been singing for a minute. So tell us about your singing journey.
So I've been singing since I was a baby, but I never really thought this was going to be my career or my dream path. But once I kind of matriculated through high school, I joined the Arts Academy and I was doing vocal lessons and learning music theory. And when I graduated, I still didn't think anything of it, but I went to see The Weeknd, and I guess that's where I found my spark, where I was just listening, and I just was so amazed because I wasn't that big of a Weeknd fan. I just went because my cousin had a free ticket. I was going to be her plus one. I'm the older cousin. I always tag along. And I was just watching how he was performing and the lights and just how he made everything come together. I'm just like, this is what I want to do. And then that's when I decided to go to Howard and decided to study marketing. But since that moment, I was just like, I need to figure out how to legitimize this for myself and actually turn this into something. I don't want it to just be me talking and me saying I want to dream about this. So I started working on an EP, and then I came out with the EP called Contort in 2018. And then ever since then, I've just been working to perfect my craft and become better and grow as a musician.
So I think that's very interesting. So with a lot of freshmen, I went to Fort Valley, and as an orientation leader, it's a lot of folks that gravitate towards performing arts and
Mm-hmm.
especially media. but they tend to go towards business. And it was something that I didn't fully understand, because I was like, why don't you want to major in what you do? But I
Yeah.
feel like, for a lot of folks, they want to understand the business aspect before they hop into being in media, or before they hop into being a graphic designer or a singer. So
Yeah.
what made you major in marketing instead of doing communications or fine arts?
Well, I wanted to know the business side of music because I just know of so many artists who've been taken advantage in the industry or didn't have the foundation to even know what to ask for in their contract or know how to market themselves. I want to be a self-sufficient artist. I don't want to necessarily rely on being signed for my success to come. So I decided to take marketing. One, my mom was in marketing and I've done so much work with her and doing social media marketing. I was just like, I really enjoy being a creative in marketing. Like there's so many routes you could take. You could become a content creator. There's just so many different avenues you can take. But knowing the vocabulary terms and knowing how to effectively use algorithms, and Instagram's always changing, knowing to always be on your toes, I think was something that really interested me, and applying that to myself as an artist. Like every time I put out a song, I'm like, okay, what's my marketing strategy? Because a song, you can have the best song in the world, but if you don't have a strategy for it, I mean, hey, TikTok, you might go viral,
Yeah.
who knows? But majority of those who put out music without a marketing strategy, it falls on deaf ears. And you're just like, well, what's happening? Like I put my heart and soul in it, but there's so much more that you have to do. So that's why I chose business.
I think that, and I want to take it down the lane. I was ask you a Howard question, but you done hopped into one of the questions I've been asking everybody that's been on The Voice so far. So one of the things that has been a big conversation is what Blake Shelton said in regards to his artist, Cam Anthony,
Mm-hmm.
about The Voice not creating stars. So just for the folks that haven't heard it, because I know
Yeah.
you brought the whole Mecca in the chat. They might not know what's going on. All right. So like, just in case y'all didn't hear it, here's the clip right here.
I've never had more people ask me about an artist on my team in 20 seasons of doing this show, man. You could be the first superstar that we launch off this show.
So the part that was crazy to me, of course, I went the Victor lane because, Victor's the HBCU guy. And it's like, Victor goes to North Carolina A&T. That's the largest public HBCU, the largest HBCU in the nation. He already has these bona fides. How is he
Yeah.
not a star? But then I looked at it from the aspect of, are these shows still creating stars the same way that
Yeah.
American Idol was, with Jennifer Hudson and Kelly Clarkson and Fantasia and Ruben Studdard? So as a marketing major and someone that wanted to look at the aspect of the music industry in a different way, how do you feel about that? Do you feel as if shows like The Voice are creating stars, or do you think there's still work to be done?
Oh, there's most definitely work to be done. If you think about those who have won The Voice, majority of them, or even if you think about the record deals that they receive, a lot of them are not necessarily with the artist in mind. It's almost as if you kind of come to the table and you win $100,000, which is amazing, and hopefully you use that towards building your team, et cetera, et cetera. But the record label kind of sees you as just this TV star, and there's this not to say there's a discrimination, but there kind of is between people who win TV shows versus who take the traditional route. When they see someone who, when you like shop around an artist, like, oh, they were on The Voice, or oh, they were on, well, if you're on American Idol, it's a whole different because they have a huge stage and all that. The Voice is still kind of, even though they've been here for 10 years, they're still building their name.
Not American Idol no more. I'm not gonna hold you. Not American Idol no more.
You know what I mean? I feel like American Idol has this household name that The Voice is still trying to build.
Yeah.
And even if you look back on people who have won The Voice, they haven't necessarily had as much success, but that comes from American Idol. When they launch their artist, they get a residency. They get so many different things that help promote them, that help foster what a star could potentially traject. Whereas with The Voice, you have the being on the show, the prize money, and the record label, and then you that's it. You figure it out from there. So I think it's the way that the show is set up is just a little bit different. And what Blake Shelton is saying is true. It's just like the show hasn't necessarily had a breakout star. There's no Kelly Clarkson that came from the show. But the problem is when the show picks the winner, or when America picks the winner, they end up choosing someone who's not necessarily an artist. Like, they have a beautiful voice, but they've never written a song before, or they don't have an intention of writing music, or they need a songwriter. They don't have a brand image. Whereas someone like Victor has the whole package. Cam has the entire package. Even, honestly, everyone who was told that they're going to the next round has a full package, and they've been working on music for forever. So I think this season is the most interesting because we're working with artists versus just beautiful singers. But that's what The Voice wanted. They're like, we're just about the voice. You know, if you have a beautiful voice, you can win, blah, blah, blah. But if you want a breakout star, you need a full package.
Exactly. And one thing I was saying, we interviewed Just John, who was on season 19. And what I said is that after that interview, when we spoke to him, he gave us a lot of perspective and as to what The Voice is and what goes on behind the scenes. What I didn't understand is that with artists, why isn't a show like The Voice or American Idol a part of the rollout instead of how people used to look at it like, hey, I'm going to go on American Idol and I'm going to just pop off and be successful. I think that in this day and age, it has to be like with marketing just as much a part of the rollout as doing a TikTok dance or as coming on an HBCU post and doing an interview. It has to be a part of the rollout. So I want to, get into your role to The Voice, and we're going to backtrack in a second. But what made you go on The Voice instead of continuing the just independent grind?
Well, the pandemic happened, and and I wasn't able to do live gigs, and I feel like, well, I was in an interesting situation because I was studying abroad in South Africa. Then the pandemic hit. They had to fly. Well, we had to pay for our flights, but they kicked us out of South Africa. They were like, you need to get home as soon as possible. And I didn't have I was still taking classes in South Africa, but I had to take them here. So I wasn't doing anything for like 2 months. And I just felt like I wasn't going towards what I felt like I was working. I felt like I was so productive when I was in South Africa. I felt like I had a purpose, a plan, and then everything the record stopped, sent me back, and I was just like, how can I continue to build out this dream of mine when I can't book gigs? Everyone's scared to see each other. Like, it's just so many different things. And then I started posting like YouTube videos on YouTube, and I did Freestyle Fridays every Friday on my Instagram page. And then someone from the casting team with The Voice reached out to me and were like, hey, I think you'd be perfect for The Voice. Love for you to audition. So I sent my audition tapes. And then for like 3 months, it was silent. I was like, well, I guess they didn't choose me, whatever. And then the 3rd month, it's funny, I accidentally put the wrong phone number. I think I messed up like one number. And luckily they called my emergency contact, which is my mom. So they call her and they're like, she's going to The Voice, blah, 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 that they're flying me out. And like, that's the whole story of me getting there. Very unconventional, but super cool.
You popping, like they reached out to you?
Oh yeah.
Everybody is like, man, like, cause Dion yesterday was like, yo, I saw the ad on the feed and I clicked on it and I applied. They reached out to you, bruh. How? Like, you popping?
Path is different, I think using hashtags helps me a lot and being consistent. So
dang, man, listen, man, I need folks to reach out to me. Like, dang, man, like, man, I think he'd be good for this. Like, you think? Like,
you think?
Lee. So I think this is perfect to take a trip down memory lane. So we have a little segment where I want you to just take us to almost like a vlog in a sense of where you were when you were doing these certain things. So let's start with your singing career. So I was doing my research on you because clearly you're popping. The Voice is reaching out to you to be on their show. So, and you've been doing this for a minute. So I found this song right here, and I want you to talk about just like the creation of this song and also your just career before you got on The Voice. So this is the song right here.
Something came over my body. Something over my tongue is making me pour out my love, my love, my love.
Hey, that's the new summer song of 2021, man. We're bringing that back. We bringing that back. We bringing that back. Listen, new summer song of 2021. So tell us about that. Cause we had Hot Girl Summer a couple years ago. We got to bring this one back. So tell us about it.
So let's take us back to 2018. What year was I, Howard? A sophomore? And I remember I was just looking through beats on YouTube, and I was just like, I just want to do like a summertime fun. I love to play around with different ideas, like Summer Love, how this it's beautiful but it never lasts. It's like this hot romance, and then winter comes and it's over, or it only lasts for 3 months, something like that. So then I started writing to it, and I feel like that's kind of, is that even 20, it might have been 2017 that that song was released. Let me get my facts straight. But I released a song in the summer, and it's just a vibe. Like, I wanted everyone to just be able to listen to it and vibe. I remember doing a music video for it, and that's when I really started to like put my marketing eyes on everything. I was like, I need a music video. I need to do X, Y, and Z. I remember I asked all my friends to be in it. Like, all my friends were at the music video shoot. But yeah, it was super cool to shoot, because that was the first time I did like a full produced song that, after listening to that, I was like, there's nothing I want to change. I felt confident about it. And then I released it to the world.
So I got to ask this, you the marketing manager. So what was the marketing budget? What was the budget for this song?
The budget. Well, the music video was a little pricey. It's like 600. I mean, that's not that bad. Honestly, people be paying like 10K for a music video. So that's not that bad when I say it out loud. But like 600, but I'm a college student. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you got to realize the rappers be selling drugs for that. You know what I'm saying? Some will be selling drugs. Like, I ain't trying to blow anybody's spot up, but some will be selling drugs. Man. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
If anybody wants to invest in this, let me know.
You not about to be Tariq on Power now, Ainae. We're not about to do that. Invest in education with drugs, but we ain't about to do that.
Don't tell me where it comes from.
Don't tell plausible deniability. I feel it. Marketing measure. I feel it. Plausible deniability.
Tell me. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, 600, and then I would do like Instagram ads. Like, I was still very young with the marketing, but I do like Instagram ads. $25 here, $50 here. Have all my friends post it. Like, at 11 p.m. we're posting it. At 2 p.m. we're posting it. Stuff like that. Just like how when like for Victor B and Mr. HBCU, there's always that group chat where it's like, all right, we're posting 11 a.m. and everyone posts at the same time. Flood everybody's timeline.
Yes. A whole strategy, a whole election strategy. People don't understand the whole entire group chat. They don't understand that vibe. So let me ask you this about Howard. So we know we have Howard's Hottest, and you have all these amazing just actresses and performers that come from Howard. So how do you think Howard aided in, you know, growing you into this performer and this singer that could be on The Voice and compete?
I think Howard was just a great place to go and experiment and just try everything, because it's a family. Like, I went to every open mic, and even if I didn't think I sounded good or whatever, I still kind of felt like at least I tried, and at least I put myself out there. And in me putting myself out there, I was meeting so many cool people and building relationships and being told that your lyrics are so poetic, and like being affirmed in what I do. Because I think a lot of times sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to hear it from somebody else that, like, you're kind of dope, and you're just like, wait, do you really think so? Thank you. And just continuously going to open mics. I did almost every single talent show, and just putting myself out there. Like, Howard is a place, and HBCUs are a place that foster growth. I always say you're not able to see how far you can go unless you've seen sometimes you need to see somebody else go that far. So being surrounded by creatives who are doing crazy things and putting themselves out there, I'm inspired to do the same and keep pushing myself and pushing boundaries. So Howard has definitely been a support system for me. And being on The Voice, like Howard had my back the entire time. People I didn't even
Indeed.
know were just like, you sounded so amazing, or you should have won, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, you know what? Thank you. I love you. And let's just keep this support for when I come out with new music and all that good stuff.
Major key. That's a major key right there, because it's like y'all saying this now, but when this Apple Music thing drops, I need y'all to download it, put it in your phone. So I got to ask you this. So I heard about this story, but I want you to tell us, take us down memory lane. So you walk into class after, you know, the audition came out and people clap for you. Tell us about how it felt when you go, like, you know, were on campus or whatever, and people knew that things were popping off for you on The Voice.
Well, virtual classroom.
Virtual class.
So basically what ended up happening is we weren't supposed to really talk about The Voice because it hadn't aired yet. But I was like, I have to tell my teachers because y'all need to help a sister out, because I might have to take a test late. I might have to, there's just some things I'm going to need accommodations for. So I like set up a meeting with all my teachers, like, hey, I'm on the show, blah, blah, blah. And I had this one professor who I come into class and he's telling everyone to turn the cameras on. I'm like, wow, I look crazy. I don't turn my camera on. But he turns it on and he's just like, I just want to congratulate Ainae. Everyone's clapping and saying, oh my gosh. And like they watched the episode. Just like, wow. Because I just assumed for some reason that my teachers would be difficult, but they weren't at all. They were just nothing but supportive and loving. And they were telling all their friends to tune in. Just awesome.
Man, they're trying to get a Grammy shout out when you win the Grammys. I think of all my teachers at Howard.
Yes, Howard is a part of my story. I always send love back.
I love it. I love it. So let's get to the audition. So let's play a little bit of your audition when you sang Best Part.
You're the coffee that I need in the morning. You're the sunshine in the rain when it's pouring. Give yourself to me, give it all. 'Cause I just wanna see how beautiful you are.
When Carson Daly said that's a rap, I'm like, all right now. So I want you to walk us through that moment from when you were getting prepared. Because I remember one time I was watching Victor's story, and Victor had the gospel music playing. He had his tea. You know, he was all ready to go. And then he gets out there, makes it happen. So walk us through that morning routine to that point where you're on that stage and Kelly Clarkson turns around.
So let's even go back a bit. I didn't even think I would be able to audition. So the night before, I was like distraught. I was like, I think I'm going home, blah, blah, blah. Then the next day comes around, they tell me that I'm going the next day. I'm like excited. I wake up. I think I had to like have my makeup done and hair done by like 8 a.m. I was up at like 6, took a shower, had all the Anita Baker, had everything on. And I was just jamming the entire morning, put my makeup on. I just remember feeling confident because I knew that either way I'd be fine. It was like, I'm just blessed to be able to wake up and have the opportunity to potentially touch the stage. And I remember getting my hair done and getting my makeup done and just talking to the makeup artist or talking to the hair person, just fixing my braids up and just feeling kind of at ease, still scared, but I don't know, it's like some weird calm situation that was going on. And then you get to the stage and you're just like sitting there for a while because they want to get you there like 2 hours early. And you're just sitting there in the freezing cold. I'm just like, they need to put the heat on. Yes, it's cold. And I'm like, you can't sing in the cold. So I brought a blanket. It was a whole thing. And I just remember once I got on stage, the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, I'm on stage. Like, how did this even happen? And then I start singing, and I'm just like reminding myself to just keep singing, keep singing, keep singing. And then when Kelly Clarkson turned around, I had to just continue. I was like, keep singing, Ainae. Like, this is crazy. And it's funny when she turns around, like, I can hear it in my voice, but I get like a little pitchy, and I'm just like, bring it right back. Like, don't get too excited. Bring it back. But it was such a cool experience. I feel like I was just 110% myself, sang my butt off, and got to talk to Kelly Clarkson.
So let me ask this. So your situation was that John said he wanted you. John was trying to build an HBCU choir first and foremost. Right? He had Dion, had Victor. He's trying to get you. he was trying to bring a whole HBCU choir. So he already had his team full, and everybody else had their teams full. And then Kelly turned around, and you automatically were on Kelly's team. So did you know that going in, or was that sort of a shock?
That was a shock. I didn't know. Like, all the reactions that are on TV is exactly when they're like, well, you just filled my team. I'm like, wait a second. Okay. But because you, as a contestant, you're just sitting there doing the math. You're just like, okay, yesterday 10 people made it. So that means that this amount of people are going to make it. And then you're like, okay, what team did you get put on? What team? So you're just trying to figure out how many spaces are available before you get there. But everyone's math is wrong. Everyone doesn't exactly know. My math was wrong. I thought I was supposed to go 2 days before. And obviously, I didn't. I went on the last day. But it was really cool. I feel like that was the moment where I was just like, this is God's plan. Like, the day before, I didn't even think I was going to audition. If one person made it before me, I wouldn't have even been able to audition. So I'm just like, things just line up in a way that's very purposeful.
Clearly. And that's so interesting. But so when we spoke to Dion yesterday, Dion said he had a strategy. And his strategy shocked me because in my mind, I thought that all the black contestants were sort of trying to go to Team John Legend because it's John Legend. But like Dion was like, I want to go to Team Blake. I'm like, what? So what was your strategy? Because clearly you had a strategy.
Well, I wanted to be on John's team just because I love his music, but I would have gone to anybody. I did not care. Exactly. Just somebody take me. But it's funny because the night before, my aunt called me, and she was like, if Kelly Clarkson turns around, she's your coach. She literally predicted this. And then I get on stage, Kelly Clarkson's the only one with space, and I'm on her team. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better recipe at all.
Right. And then you have Kelly Clarkson that has succeeded on American Idol. And now she's on The Voice. So tell us about the interaction with Kelly Clarkson, because one thing that we actually didn't really get a chance to touch on with Dion, we spoke about it a bit with John, was the aspect of interacting with the, celebrity, guests and also the coaches. So what was your interaction like with Kelly Clarkson?
It was cool. I mean, COVID, everything 6 feet apart behind glass shields. But Kelly is so nice. Like, she is like she's a mom. Like, she's your auntie when you go to the barbecue, and she's just loving on you and wants to see you succeed, and nothing but compliments, and actually trying to figure out how you could be the best version of yourself. Even though she didn't necessarily know me for as long, I feel like she was able to see qualities in my voice. And when we did our one-on-ones with me and Anna Grace, and just talking about how I bring something to the table, Anna brings something to the table, and how we can like bring together our voices to create something very different. And just seeing that, I think a lot of times you can't necessarily, I mean, you can see it in yourself, but it takes somebody else seeing the potential for you to be like, oh, I didn't even think to go in that direction. So that was definitely something super cool. But I heard past seasons, people were going to coaches' houses and doing that. I'm just like,
COVID.
Please. I rebuke it. But I'm still grateful for the experience. It was very cool.
Hey, listen, the only way you can really rebuke it is by getting that vaccine. I got mine on Saturday.
2 shots, I'm good.
Hey, wait, Moderna or Pfizer? Which one you got?
Pfizer.
Man, listen, Pfizer low-key got my throat hurt right now, man. I'm on injured reserve right now talking to you. You got to realize that. I'm on injured reserve right now. But, the part I really want to know is this. So you've released music, you've been performing at Howard, and you have this, this base and people that are rocking with you, are you really learning from the coaches? Like, or is it just a TV thing where it's like, okay, hey, I'm smiling, I'm listening, but I already know what's up? Are you really learning from Kelly Clarkson? Was she teaching you something that you could take to your career or within just your singing abilities?
Yeah, I think the way I can really explain it is I feel like when I was doing open mics and all that jazz, I feel like I was singing, but I wasn't really singing. And being on The Voice, I was singing to the, like, even if you listen to a lot of my music, a lot of it's like sing talking, it's very poetic, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like I was able to see how capable I was as like actual singer. And the critiques that she gave was just like, Ainae, you can do amazing runs and you can do that forever, but you don't need to do all of that. Like, you're an amazing singer, and having a bunch of runs, sometimes people get lost in that. And like, that's true. And you don't necessarily think about it because you're like, well, this is a competition. I need to do as many runs as possible. They need to see I could do backflips, everything, so that I could stand out. And reality is, people get lost in everything you're trying to do. You just need to simple, and then you can jazz it up with a few runs here and there. So that was definitely something that I took back, and I was just like, okay, that's good advice. And hearing that she's done the same thing, like she can do a bunch of runs, and somebody had to humble her and be like, look, you can do it, doesn't mean you should all the time. So yeah, that's definitely something I've learned.
That's interesting because I've always thought that when it comes to especially black singers, is that black singers be doing they be running like they doing track, man. I swear. Like, why? So is it because of the showmanship aspect of it, or just like showing off? Like, why do black singers do so many runs?
I think it's just in our DNA, honestly. Because if you think about like gospel singers and all the acrobatic things they can do with their voice, but it comes from a place of, like, when you listen to it, it's still purposeful. It's not every single word has a bunch of vibrato. It has a bunch. It still has a rhythm and a rhyme and a purpose. And I think that that's kind of like the messaging of it. It's more of, be intentional about what you're going to do. Don't necessarily try to do it for everything, because then it's not special anymore. If you put runs on the entire song, nobody is going to think that's special. They're not going to think that that's anything different because you're just doing it the whole time. But I think it's in our DNA. You're just like, well, if I can do it, then I can do it.
At this point, just to show off, just to put some salsa, it's almost like singing hot sauce at this point. That's how I look at it. Just to put it on there just because. So I want to ask you something different before we get to the battle with Anna Grace. So I'm not asking nobody else this because you pop in, they reached out to you. So what's it like not being on stage? We want to hear about, okay, boom, you on there, how you were feeling when you were on the stage. But what happens once you leave? Like, how is it just being just on the lot or in the city? Like, what was it like?
Like before performing or after?
Both.
Well, before, you are kind of just jittery, and it's not like you can just get up and, I mean, you can go to the bathroom, of course, and like take a step outside. But what is cool is like that drive when you're getting to the stage, because on the lot you see all the prop houses and all that goes into making different TV shows. So it's very scenic going. And then when you get in there, it's like this black box, and everyone's just sitting in their little square because COVID. And you're just excited. You're excited and you're scared, and you're talking to everyone, and we're all just like, how do you feel? You're going to do great. We're all doing pep talks. I was doing pep talks the entire time. Like, people feeling insecure. I'm like, no, you're going to do amazing, because if you step on that stage feeling insecure, you're going to sing insecure. So we're not going to do that. And like, just continuously drinking water and talking to everyone backstage, all the staff, and just trying to keep the energy up. And then once you perform, once you leave, you're kicking your heels off. You're just like, all right, take me to the hotel. Just take me. Take the wardrobe. I just want to take a shower and go to sleep. and hang out with people. Like that's honestly
First and
the.
foremost, you were a coach, basically. You were a coach at this point. You coaching people.
I'm just trying to make sure everyone feels good.
Hey, I feel it, man. I feel it. So one thing about HBCU students, especially when we get to conferences and we're in the hotel, it's literally a hangout spot. So was it like that for you, or were you in competition mode?
Oh no, it was a hangout because if the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, no matter what direction this competition goes, these people are cool. Like, I want to build relationships with people. And there were some people who were on there and it was just competition mode, didn't really necessarily break out the shell. And then once they made it on, they realized, like, yo, it's more fun when you make friends and you break out your shell and you'll be able to build a community around you and go eat McDonald's at 10:45 p.m. We have a curfew at 11. We're running to McDonald's to get a McFlurry. Like that makes it fun. Because if it was just to focus on the competition, and which of course you focus on, but if that's all the stress that comes with, like I don't know. I was doing school, I had work, I was also doing the competition. I was doing way too many things for me to. I feel like I would have slipped into some, I don't want to call it depression, but I would probably be sad if that's the direction I was taking. But definitely happy that everyone was just so dope. Everyone was just grateful to be there, you know?
Wow. So let's get into the battle round. So before we even play that part, so did you know that you would be going up against Anna Grace? Did you know that?
I didn't know until they told us on like the Zoom call.
Mm. So did you have an inclination that I'm gonna go
Oh,
against Anna Grace?
I predicted it. I was like, I'm 100% certain I'm going to be with Anna Grace. And they told us, and I was like, I knew it. I knew it.
So what did you know about it? Is it the same musical styles? Did you just sort of just think, okay, yeah, it's probably gonna be us. That's like, what made you know you were going against her?
Well, I was kind of on the plane ride to LA. I was just thinking through the whole Kelly team. I was like, what voices kind of mesh well together? I'm like, I can't be with Gianna because we both are sopranos, and I feel like that'd be a lot of high pitched singing. I don't know if that's the route we should go. And then I was like, me and Corey, I guess could work. And then at first I was like, it might be me and Riley. But then for some reason I was just like, that can't be it. And so somehow it's just like me and Anna make the most sense for us to be paired together. And then we were.
So did you guys speak about it beforehand? Because one thing that I thought was amazing about my interview with Dion yesterday is that he gave us the exclusive behind that battle performance. He said that Victor and Dion did not go in thinking, hey, we battling each other. They said, listen, it's a duet. What's going to happen is going to happen. So did you guys have a conversation? Like, how was it practicing? How was it working with Anna Grace?
Oh, it was beautiful. Like the whole time we had the understanding. It was more of let's just sing it so good that they have to steal or save one of us. And that's how we went into it. It wasn't any catty, none of that. We wanted to make sure it was fair. We wanted to make sure everyone was able to show their voice equally. At least that was the intention. And I think that having that perspective made it more fun, made it more free to like speak your mind. I feel like a lot of times when you think about it, you're just like, that could be really awkward and uncomfortable trying to figure out how to like separate the song. Who sings this line? Who sings that line? But it wasn't. It was, I felt very free in what we were doing.
I love it. I love it. And real quick, I got to shout out because listen, you for some reason you done brought everybody in here, man. You done brought the whole cast of The Voice in here. Shout out to Rain in the building, season 20 in the
Hey,
building.
Rain!
Shout out to you and welcome to the HBC Post Instagram. Like we're just kicking it out here, making it happen, man. So shout out to you and congratulations on your success and also your album as well. So as far as the performance, let's play a little bit of that performance.
What did you do with him today? And sniffed me out like I was Tangeray. Cause you're my film guy. Let me go 7 5. I'm about the
So tell us about just being on the stage and this aspect of singing with Anna Grace. So how was it performing? Because were you trying to make sure you weren't clashing with her and that you guys were singing together? Or was it just seamless?
Well, we did so much practice. We weren't necessarily thinking about our vocals. I think, which was great because we practiced so much that once we got on stage, it was just like, all right, let's just do this. Like, I'm just dancing, like walking back and forth, looking at her. Like, we had little choreographed things that we kind of threw in there and doing that and just like being ourselves and just laying it out there.
So how did you feel about your performance in the battle? Like, how did you feel about it? Because one thing I didn't really understand about the battle round, and I always said it to everybody I've spoken to so far, is that how can you really judge who did better when y'all singing together? It's almost like a team. It's like I didn't get that. It's almost like LeBron and Anthony Davis say, "Hey, I did the best this game." I just didn't. I don't understand the battle round. So how do you feel you did in the battle? But as a team, I don't get it. Go ahead. Just answer the question. I don't know.
I think that I performed well. Of course, there's always things that I could do better. I'm an artist. I'm always critiquing myself. But I think that I presented myself in a way that I'm proud of. My stage presence, I'm always working on that and being sassy and all that, like who I am on stage. And not like being in a show. And I think that I did that. And yeah, I'm proud of that performance.
I
But
don't
I
want
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like, that's what my mom said. She was like, I don't understand how, just like you're saying, how can you really judge when you're supposed to be but you watch certain performances and there's one person who is singing better or artistically chose better parts of the song or something like that. But some of those things are out of your control, but that's neither here nor there.
Makes sense. I want to say once again, we were HBC Post Instagram Live recording this for the podcast. You got somebody else for season 20 in here. Denise, what's up? That guy, you bring in everybody. Like, listen, we go like I'm need to connect with. We need somebody for next week. All right, for this season finale show. So I'm gonna be connected with some of these folks you bringing in, man.
Come on, get Niche on here.
Hey, you really the plug out here. You really the plug out here. I feel you.
I'm happy.
It always is the Howard people, man. I swear the plug. I'm telling you, it always is Howard. So tell us about that moment. When for first and foremost, here was the part that I didn't fully understand, and hopefully I'm not getting this mixed up because I know it was so much else going on. So Kelly wasn't on the episode to pick you, right? Was she not on the episode? Where was she?
She was sick at home.
She thought like they could have called her. They could have called her and they did a Zoom. I feel like she would have picked you. Like, what the world?
Apparently, they were texting back and forth, her and Kelsey Ballerini. I don't know the logistics, but somehow she was in the room watching.
She was in the room spiritually. She wasn't listening. Like, what the world? I wasn't rocking with that. I was like, it's like she gonna pick. Like, no, listen, you ain't been here. Like, you only been here for a few minutes. You're not gonna pick for my team. Like, what the world? I wasn't feeling that.
It was very different, and all of us were kind of just like, I don't know how I feel about. Well, we didn't like it at all. It was just like, how are you going to? They said that they were going to have it live streamed in her house or something like that, so she'd be watching with the same quality, like sound quality. I'm like, okay, we'll see, but it is what it is. What can you do?
I would have protested the vote like I was a Republican, but I'm telling you, man, like, listen, this is legitimate. I legitimately won this battle. I would have been playing with the voice. I would have been playing with the
like, she's a sore loser. Boo, get off. You gotta. I'm not like that.
I feel it.
I'm grateful for the experience, and that's what that is.
It makes sense, and but I feel as if one thing that with these shows, especially what we talked about before, you being a marketing major, is that I don't see you getting that far a loss. Like, I see it as really a blessing because clearly with everybody in here that's from season 20, you're still rocking with them. You know, like you still have this base. People been coming in on Instagram Live, on HBCU posts, they're showing you love. And it's like you're moving forward. You graduated. Howard's supporting you. So what has life been like after The Voice? Like, how's that been?
Well, after The Voice, it's interesting because honestly, when we got home, the blind auditions were airing. So we were kind of riding that wave of, oh my God, you're on The Voice. Even though we kind of knew, we were like, well, next episode. But riding that wave of, oh my God, you're on the blind auditions and doing interviews and like feeling that and feeling excited. And then the battle round goes and you're still excited, but like it slowly starts to dwindle after the amount of press and just eyes that are on you. But it's in those moments where you kind of have to see that you have to bring new stuff. Like you need to be working on music and have singles drop. Like you need to ride this wave as fast as possible. And I think that's where a lot of us are. Like Nisha's working on stuff. You know, Rain probably already has a whole catalog waiting to come out, and everyone's just creating, which is the route that needs to be had. And that's what it's been like since now. I just graduated. Everything's kind of back to normal, to be completely honest. Kind of
Makes
back.
sense.
But I think that it's since you've been on on The Voice, there's a different tier of opportunities that come from that. Like you can do open mics, but you also can do paid gigs, and you can figure out how to make this a moneymaker thing because now you got The Voice on your back, or now people see that and they feel like that's kind of like a blue check mark, even if you don't have one. So,
And we we need to get you one for sure. Like, come on now. Like, because you saw Victor has one now. Victor got one.
Oh yeah, well he's also a season finale person, so that's a whole different.
That's big fat. That's true. That's true. All the folks on there got a blue check. But
hey,
so
listening, I put my request in.
don't get me started on the request now, man. Don't get me started. I put my request in too. You see, we're not verified. We like listen. We verified in these streets, man. We ain't worried about that, bro.
Doesn't even really mean anything. You go back. I mean, yes, it makes you feel better, but after you get that blue check mark, what changes?
Nothing. Not gonna nothing. Nothing changes. But I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you, like, in preparation for this interview, listen, you did an interview with the OG Frank Ski. Okay. And I'm like, bro, like, I gotta make sure I do better than Frank Ski, man. Like, I'm like, dang, she went on Frank Ski. She's gonna be like, man, this bootleg. Like, man, I done been on Frank Ski. Like, no, like, it's, I was on the radio, bro. What you doing with this podcast thing? I'd have been sure I came with it with the sound effects and the songs. But not like, you know, like I really just think that, like, first you have an amazing vibe. I just love your energy. Like, that's really just the first thing. It's like you were coaching folks, you were motivating people, and then it's like, you know, just the process is like, you know, you have this like this realistic view of just the whole entire process of, you know, it not really being a competition. You wanting to have that enjoyment of connecting with the other contestants, and you just enjoying that moment. Even just going back to, you know, your mind as far as, like, you know, you being a marketing major. So I want to get your take on, you know, the season finale. Now, I ain't trying to blow up no relationships, get nobody mad at you. Like, you was on this page, you talking about me. I'm not trying to do that. You know, so you got Cam and I got Victor in there. You know, we rock with Victor, the HBCU fam. But how do you feel about the top 5? Like, is it really a tight contest? Do you think, like, Cam runs away with it, like people are saying, the critics are saying? Or do you think that the HBCU community can rally and get Victor in there? Or, one last thing, do you think it's going to be a country bias that happens is going to sort of slant towards Kenzie?
If we're being real, we have to think about what the Voice audience is. Traditionally, it is middle-aged white women who kind of dictate the trajectory of the show. And I think having a platform like this rally behind whomever definitely is going to help. Like, that's what we have to do. And that goes beyond just The Voice. That goes to Shop in Black. That goes to just supporting Black people in general. And when I think about the contestants, the top 5, everyone's extremely talented. Like, that's obvious. But I'm hoping that we go in a different route, because if we go with the stereotypical, then it's going to be between Rachel Mack, Jordan, or Kenzie.
Yeah.
That's just how it usually goes. And because Rachel's super young, they'll probably go that route, because young always ends up kind of dictating. But I just feel like Cam and Vic they've had, and honestly Jordan also, and Kenzie, and well, okay, all of them are
All
amazing.
of them, just to say all of them.
But something about Cam and Vic, they have this electric energy about them that when you watch their performance, it's emotional for you. And you can tell the amount of thought that they've put into it. Like, even if you Vic's last performance, like, that was crazy. The amount of, one, you could see who he was as a person, his roots, like Monday's episode, in gospel music. And he's just always had a consistent performance. You've never watched his performance and you're just like, well, he could have done better. It's like, no, that was 102% amazing. Also with Cam. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a head-to-head battle between Cam and Vic. But I'm rooting for everyone Black. When I vote, I be voting for everybody.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
It's group chats are like, Ainae, you are not helping.
No, you are helping. You never know, that one vote might go towards that one person. But I feel that, like, you know, like, one thing I don't want to happen, and I really hope doesn't happen, is that HBCUs are riding for Victor. That's a given. But Cam is so talented, and he's really been given that push. And especially with Blake having 2 folks in that they have a shot, you know, with Jordan and with Cam, and then Cam being that outlier on his team. Like, I hope that we don't split the votes for Cam and Victor, and then it goes towards someone else because the Black folks are split.
Oh, I can see what you're saying there. Yeah. I mean, we can't have another Hillary Clinton type situation.
Exactly.
But I think it's honestly, I don't know. Because when I think about it, you just have to, I know it's like, vote based off of who you gravitate towards more. But it's hard because everyone's performances are so good. But when I think about it, I'm like, who can do the most? You know? When you look at different artists who have like one lane, but you see how throughout the show they've stretched and they've shown their range, and they've shown that they can do country, or they've shown, or not even country, they've shown that they can do R&B, gospel, they can do a tearjerker song, they can make you dance, they can throw a wig on and look crazy for a bit and still have fun, you know, like, are willing to push boundaries. Or I don't know, I just feel like, I hope America, when they do vote, they look in a holistic view of, one, an artist who, once they leave The Voice, they're going to take advantage of what the opportunity is and not just be comfortable, and lean towards whoever emotionally they feel attached to. Because I feel like there's different people who gravitate towards Cam, different people, or honestly, everyone, just vote for everyone Black. That's all I can say. Please.
So let me ask you this, and Nisha brought up something interesting. She said that, you know, with Blake having 2 artists, will his votes be split? You know, but that's an interesting dichotomy too. You got 2 Black singers. It's like, hey, which Black folks we voting for? But also Blake having 2 people, and both of them, you know, lean country.
Yeah.
But, you know, my thing is that the part that I didn't really care for, and this was not a diss really towards Cam, it was more so towards the media, is that I think, just as a member of the media, someone that went to school for media, someone that is literally, I've been on the media's head all year, you know, from start with the Deion Sanders covered on ESPN. I just think that we do a disservice when we don't tell the full story. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. If
Yeah.
we were just getting on this live, just talking about Victor, but not talking to you, not talking to Dion, we're doing the process a disservice because Victor, although he takes up a lot of oxygen, he wasn't the only HBCU student on the show. So
Yeah.
it's like we want to tell each story individually, but of course, Victor being in this moment, we're going to put support towards him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Then him being Mr. HBCU and him having such a huge brand. I think that what I didn't really like is that, especially when Cam was crowned by Blake so soon, especially with that controversial statement that was rather controversial with the, oh, he could be a star, is that like the media sort of picked up Cam and
Yeah.
started saying front runner, front runner, front runner. And it was almost like an unfair advantage to a certain degree. So I mean, that was really my problem, is that I feel like the media is playing their favorites, and it works in the favor of Black folks. But it's like at the same time, why are we not covering the story that I read one article? I forgot where it was from. I wish I could remember, and I wasn't asleep because that would have been a nightmare. I wasn't asleep. Like it was one writer that was like, Victor made it. He was top on Team John Legend, and it was like, and in parentheses was like, that's a surprise. I didn't expect that. I thought Pia would make it. And it's like, how, when you have a specific voting block of HBCUs that are pushing to support Victor, I don't understand why that story is not being told, but only Cam's story is being told from that side. I only really see Cam's story being told, period, honestly.
I think it's also, well, I'm agree, but also disagree with you. I think that there is this thing of whoever gets the most, like when your blind audition, if you get 4 chair turns, you're considered gold standard. And then when you get throughout and it's like, oh, you only had 2 chair turns or only had 1, and like in the narrative that is built around that is, if you're a 1 chair turn, even though for me there was no other option. I was the last day. There was only 1 spot left. Like, it's not my fault I was on the last day. Y'all put me on the last day.
Right.
But the whole narrative behind it is you're a 1 chair turn, so you have so much more growth to do. You have so much more to prove because you were a 1 chair turn, which isn't right. It would make more sense if there was unlimited amount of times they could push their button. But since there's a limited amount of people who can be on the team, there's a limited amount of people that can audition, it's not a true representation of what someone's talent is, but they kind of use that as a representation of talent. But I believe Cam got a 4 chair turn, and like I think he went on the first or second day or something like that. And I don't want to get into the whole talent, because they're both amazing artists.
Right.
That's not even a conversation. But people have different opinions about different things, and some people will be more attached to someone else's story, or they can relate to it, or what Cam has been through, what Vic has been through, what P has been through, and Dana. Like, everyone has different things that people gravitate towards, and they're all amazing artists, and they all have a different path, and everyone's going to vote for who they want to vote for, and it's all subjective. Like, nothing is true, nothing is fact or fiction. It's up to the listeners to be like, actually, I want to go this direction. But I think when you look at a show like this, like reality is, it's a reality TV show. And when you come out, you just have to take advantage of whatever sauce was just made with you being on the show. And having HBCU behind, like Blake Shelton, he knows what a HBCU is, but he's not a part of the culture.
Does he know? Because he allegedly did not know that Glory was John Legend's song.
Yes, he honestly might not. And even Nick Jonas doesn't necessarily know. So many people don't even know the significance of HBCUs unless you had a parent who went or you had a cousin who went. So I don't want to act as if it's mainstream culture. It's becoming mainstream, but it's not there yet. So I don't want to sit here and assume that America and the middle-aged audience that's watching this knows about all these things. I think it's our job, and you're already doing it, is educating people on the impact that HBCUs have and the amount of support that we give our students and all that good stuff. but it's still a process. And hopefully this push will get whomever to win. But at the end of the day, everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that route.
I love it.
I don't know who's gonna win, and I'm sure America will choose the right person. Just everyone keep creating your group chats and vote for who you want to vote for.
That makes sense. And I want to say, listen, I'm DMing Nisha after this, man. She going crazy in the chat, like she really participating in the conversation. Just not like HC Post followed you back, Nisha. We're gonna DM you in a second. But
that's so
like,
weird. I can't see any of the comments.
Man, listen. Instagram be bullying me. Listen, it is what it is. They was bullying me yesterday. They just continue to bully me. I'm telling you, it's crazy. like people come on, they can't see the comments, they can't hear. It's crazy. But like one thing that she said was that with Cam, she gave us a little bit of a correction, because she said that John was blocked with Cam because and it was so funny. And we're gonna close out with this is that I'm just so stuck on the exclusive we got from D, and I wish we could play it. Is that like he said that essentially that block by Nick Jonas really sort of shifted his pick because he wanted to pick Blake. But when John was blocked by Nick, Cam probably would have rocked more with John, but John was out of contention. Nick thought he was gonna get Cam, but Cam went with Blake, and then that sort of stopped Dion from getting with Blake because Dion really wanted Blake. He went with John Legend. So it's like it altered the results in like a weird way. Because go ahead.
Blake had an amazing proposition that he was going to clear a lane for Cam. That's the only way you should have went. I think that was the perfect coach for Cam because he literally said, one, that I could see you being a star, but two, I'm not going to get anybody on my team that's going to compete with you. That's basically what he said. He said, you are so amazing that I'm going to clear a path for you. And we're going to take you to the finals, basically, is what happened. And he did that. So
that makes sense. That make it. And what's funny is that I think that what we would have gotten if that block didn't happen, and it's almost like very much so Lakers versus Clippers in a way of basketball. I think we might have gotten Cam versus Victor in like the battle round or the knockouts. That would have been epic.
Yeah, I could see that.
That would have been epic. That would have been epic. Do you know how about the ratings would have gone up for that?
Yeah.
That, like, I'm telling you, man, like the voice will turn into Sunday Best Ball. I'm telling you. we'll turn to BET real quick. It's like, where all these black viewers came from?
No, literally. So many people are like, I've never watched The Voice, but I started watching because of you. I'm like, all these black folk don't even know what The Voice is, but they tuning in now.
Listen, I want to say that I knew about The Voice. I used to watch it with my mom. We used to watch The Four, America's Got Talent, The Voice, of course, American Idol back in the day.
Yeah.
But when I saw Victor was on there, then I saw that y'all were on there, it made me really want to, tap in. And I got to say this before we go, and then we pivot into, your new music and what you're doing. I got to say, first and foremost, so when I found out about you, right? When I found out about you, I was like, okay, I got to search your Instagram. So I searched your Instagram. I saw the audition. And I was like, okay, she goes to Howard. So immediately when I see HBC people, I wonder who she follows. And I was like, she follows HBCU posts? Like, what? You got folks on The Voice that follow HBCU posts? I'm like, wait a minute.
You're a bigger platform than I am.
like per se. We're not on TV. I got student loans to pay off. All right. Listen, you at this point.
I got loans to pay off too.
But Howard loans hit different. That's an investment. All right, this is dead. Okay, like this is
still dead. But I guess.
But I just thought it was, just dope to just have it like you're part of the Post family, just like Victor. You know what I'm saying, and even Dion as well. And then y'all made it happen. So it was just so inspiring just to see you guys up there. And I just think that, in general, no matter what, y'all are a part of HBCU history. Y'all are part of Post history, and y'all are part of HBCU history in general, because like from Jada Spite being on Sunday Best, her getting first runner-up, to then you have Deshaun on American Idol. You have, Victor, and, you and Dion, and then Just John on the season before. Like HBCUs have something to say. you
Yeah.
know, and I think that that's the big thing that we have to gather from this conversation, and also just what you did, what Dion did, and what Victor's gonna do, you know, no matter what he's already done, getting to this point. So I want to transition into, you know, what you have coming up. You already have music out, you know, you got Summertime Fine. We bring that back for 2021. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That Vaccinate 2021.
Yes.
So what other music you got coming out? I know you got some more music coming out. You're a marketing major, man. You're marketing
Well,
graduate.
yes, a graduate. Well, I have a cover coming out tomorrow. And music is a brewing, you know. I'm getting my masters and doing all that. Not masters like school, like
Oh,
mixing masters of the songs. Pause on that for a second. And, you know, summer is going to be fun. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very fun.
you already follow. You already follow HBCU post. I need you to tap in with this new music now. Come on, it's Black Music Month next month.
I know, right? I know. But music is coming soon. June, music's coming soon.
Okay.
Just make sure to follow me at AINAEMUSIX for updates and to see all the latest updates and releases and all that good stuff. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and we're supporting. Like, you know, I'm telling everybody we bring on. I'm real big on supporting, you know, just HBCU graduates, HBCU students, making it happen. Because, and it's the revelation. I was going to talk about it in the opening rundown, and just I want to bring it up real quick because we're a little bit over time. But, like, you know, one thing in this postgraduate journey for me, graduated from Fort Valley, December 2019, it's hard, especially when you're trying to chase your dream and you have so many options to grow your brand and, you know, market your talents, but the opportunities aren't there at that same time. You know, and that's something that, you know, I'm running into, you know, with, we have HBCU Pulse, but at the same time, like trying to find an opportunity in media where that could tie me over until Pulse really turns into that platform it's supposed to be. And I think, you know, just as artists, it gets a little bit more strenuous because it's almost always that thing of what happens after the voice, what happens after the TV thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm real big on support. We got to bring you back. You got a great breakdown.
Thank you so
all
much.
The different stuff you brought everybody in. I'm about to make some connects, you know, off this interview. You feel me? So, you know, we're making it happen. But I just really appreciate you for coming on. And I want to ask you one last thing. So Victor's going to the finale, two-part finale, making it happen, representing Team John Legend, representing HBCU. So as someone that was on the cast with him this year, what is your advice to him, your public advice?
Honestly, my advice is he's already a confident person, but every time he steps on stage, just be okay with whatever ends up happening, because if you're okay with it, you'll leave it all on the line. But he already does that. I don't think Vic needs advice from me. But
you're so humble.
He's just, they said on the show, he's a natural born leader. He knows what his purpose is, and he's living in it, and he's living through it. More, you know what I'm going to say? I love you, Vic. And you're doing the damn thing. And everything that you have said in your interviews for The Voice, and you've said to me outside of all the TV stuff, has been just inspirational, and you're just like a real friend. And at the end of the day, you're more than whatever it is that fame and The Voice can bring you. You are just a dope person who deserves to live in your purpose. Same goes with all the contestants. Just live in your purpose and be okay with whatever ends up happening. And that y'all are beautiful, and I love y'all. So, yes.
Listen, you need to be somebody's therapist, man. I swear to God. You go help somebody through life coach, I'm telling you. Already.
We talk.
we love to see it. But Ainae, thank you so much. Definitely want to connect with you more soon and keep being great. And super proud of you for graduating and all of that, man.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on here.
No problem. Talk to you later, Ainae.
Yes. Good night.